A child vanishes from a resort bedroom while her parents dine nearby. A cryptocurrency expert is kidnapped in broad daylight, ransomed for digital currency, then released. His captors never found. And security cameras capture a figure in police tactical gear stalking the halls of a Texas church before murdering a fitness instructor. 3 empty chairs, 3 unanswered questions, 3 cases that continue to haunt investigators and families alike. On April 28, 2007, the McCann family arrived at the Ocean Club Resort in Praia da Luz, a small coastal town in Portugal's Algarve region. Kate and Jerry McCann, both doctors from Leicestershire, England, traveled with their 3 young children, 3-year-old Madeleine and 2-year-old twins, Sean and Amelie. The Ocean Club wasn't a typical hotel. The McCanns stayed in apartment 5A, a ground-floor 2-bedroom apartment within a holiday complex. Their accommodation opened onto a street on one side and had a patio door leading to the resort's pool and tapas restaurant on the other. During those first days of vacation, the family established a routine. Mornings were spent at the resort's kids club. Afternoons often meant trips to the beach or pool time with the children. Each evening, after putting the children to bed around 7:30 p.m., the McCanns would meet their traveling companions, 7 friends who came to be known as the Tapas 7, for dinner at the resort's tapas restaurant, approximately 55 meters from their apartment. This routine would continue until May 3rd, when everything changed. Thursday, May 3rd began like any other day of their vacation. After a day of activities, Kate and Jerry put their 3 children to bed at approximately 7:30 p.m. All 3 children were placed in the same bedroom, with Madeleine in her own bed and the twins in travel cots. At 8:30 p.m., the McCanns left their apartment to meet their friends at the tapas restaurant. The patio door was closed but unlocked, while the front door facing the street was locked. The parents had arranged a system of regular checks on the sleeping children. At 9:05 p.m., Jerry McCann checked on the children and found them sleeping peacefully. At 9:15 p.m., one of their friends, Jane Tanner, while walking back to her own apartment, claimed she saw a man carrying a child not far from the McCann's apartment. This sighting would later become significant. At approximately 9:30 p.m., another friend was supposed to check on the McCann children, but only listened at the apartment door, not entering. At 10 p.m., Kate McCann took her turn to check. Upon entering the apartment, she found the bedroom door open wider than they had left it. As she checked inside, a gust of wind slammed the door shut. She noticed the window was open and the curtains were blowing. When she looked at Madeleine's bed, it was empty. Kate rushed back to the restaurant, famously crying out, "They've taken her! They've taken her!" The next hours were chaos. Resort staff and guests formed search parties, combing the complex and surrounding beaches and streets. The Portuguese police, the Polícia Judiciária, were called but didn't arrive until 11:10 p.m. Border authorities and airports weren't notified until the following morning. The Portuguese police response has been widely criticized in the years since. The crime scene, apartment 5A, wasn't properly secured. Over 20 people, including resort staff and searchers, had access to the apartment before it was sealed off. Forensic work was delayed, with fingerprinting not conducted until May 4th, and critical evidence like bedding wasn't properly examined. Within days, the case exploded into an international media frenzy. Journalists from around the world descended on the small Portuguese town. The McCanns launched a high-profile campaign to find their daughter, including a meeting with Pope Benedict XVI and appearances across European media. Key evidence in the case revolved around the state of the apartment. Kate McCann claimed the window and shutters had been forced open, but police found no evidence of a break-in. The window became a point of contention, with investigators questioning if someone could have entered through it. Timeline discrepancies complicated matters further. Initial statements from the Tapas 7 about the frequency and timing of checks on the children contained inconsistencies that police found suspicious. The varying accounts created issues for investigators trying to establish a precise timeline. One of the most significant early leads was the sighting reported by Jane Tanner, who claimed to see a man carrying a child in pajamas at around 9:15 p.m. near the McCann apartment. Years later, in 2013, British police identified this man as an innocent tourist carrying his own child home from the resort's night creche. More compelling was another sighting at around 10 p.m. by an Irish family, the Smiths, who reported seeing a man carrying a pajama-clad child toward the beach. The Smiths' description and the timing aligned more closely with when Madeleine was discovered missing. For a time, suspicion fell on the McCanns themselves. In September 2007, Portuguese police named them as arguidos, or formal suspects. This status was lifted in July 2008, when the Portuguese investigation was officially archived, citing lack of evidence of any crime committed by the McCanns. In June 2020, the case saw its most significant development in years. German prosecutors announced they were investigating Christian Bruckner, a German prisoner with a history of child sexual abuse and burglaries, as a suspect. Bruckner was living in the Algarve region at the time of Madeleine's disappearance, and cell phone data placed him near the Ocean Club Resort on the night she vanished. As of 2025, despite being a prime suspect, no charges have been filed against Bruckner specifically related to Madeleine's disappearance, though he remains in prison for other crimes. The case remains unsolved after 18 years due to a perfect storm of investigative failures. Contaminated crime scene, delayed border alerts, conflicting witness statements, and international jurisdictional complications. The initial 24 hours, critical in any missing person case, were marked by confusion and missteps. Kate and Jerry McCann have never given up their search. Their daughter would now be 21 years old. The case that began on that rainy Portuguese night continues to generate leads, theories, and heartbreak, nearly 2 decades later. The day after Christmas, December 26, 2017, started as an ordinary workday for Pavel Lerner. A prominent figure in the cryptocurrency world, Lerner served as the managing director of Exmo, one of Eastern Europe's largest cryptocurrency exchanges based in the UK, but with operations in Ukraine. At 40 years old, the Russian-born blockchain expert had established himself as a respected voice in the rapidly expanding digital currency space. At approximately 12:30 p.m., Lerner left his office in Kyiv's Obolon district, a bustling area in the northern part of Ukraine's capital. The winter day was cold, with light snow on the ground. According to security camera footage later recovered, Lerner walked toward his car in the parking lot. What happened next would send shockwaves through the cryptocurrency community. Witnesses reported seeing men dressed in dark clothes approach Lerner. The interaction was brief but forceful. The men seized Lerner, forcing him into a black Mercedes-Benz with tinted windows. The vehicle quickly disappeared into midday traffic. Colleagues became concerned when Lerner missed an important afternoon meeting. Calls to his mobile phone went straight to voicemail. By evening, Exmo staff contacted local authorities to report him missing. The company initially remained tight-lipped about the situation, releasing only a brief statement confirming that contact with Lerner had been lost. Security cameras from nearby buildings captured fragments of the abduction, but the perpetrators had clearly planned carefully. Their faces were obscured, and the vehicle's license plates were either covered or fake. The Mercedes-Benz, a common vehicle in Kyiv, effectively vanished into the city's traffic network. Within hours of the abduction, Lerner's captors made contact with his family and Exmo executives. Their demand was unprecedented in Ukraine, $1 million in Bitcoin. The ransom demand revealed that this wasn't a random kidnapping, but a targeted operation against someone with access to significant cryptocurrency holdings. What made this case particularly unique was the ransom medium itself. Unlike traditional kidnappings where cash drops are arranged, Bitcoin transactions occur entirely digitally. The kidnappers provided a Bitcoin wallet address where the funds should be transferred. Such transactions, once completed, are essentially irreversible. For 3 days, negotiations continued behind the scenes. Neither Ukrainian authorities nor XMO publicly confirmed the ransom demand, but blockchain analysts later identified unusual transaction patterns consistent with a large ransom payment. On December 28th, a transaction of approximately $1 million worth of Bitcoin was processed on the blockchain. On December 29th, just as suddenly as he had disappeared, Pavel Lerner was released on the outskirts of Kyiv. Physically unharmed but severely traumatized, Lerner immediately went into protective seclusion. In his only public statement following the ordeal, released through XMO, Lerner thanked the cryptocurrency community for their support, but provided no details about his captivity or release. The use of cryptocurrency as ransom represented a new frontier in criminal activity. Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies offer attributes that make them ideal for ransom payments. They're digital, requiring no physical exchange. They're pseudonymous, making it difficult to connect transactions to real-world identities. And most critically, they're largely untraceable once funds begin moving through the blockchain ecosystem. The Ukrainian police faced unprecedented challenges investigating this crime. While kidnapping for ransom was not new to law enforcement, the cryptocurrency element introduced complex technical obstacles. Investigators began with traditional approaches, interviewing witnesses, reviewing security footage, and searching for the black Mercedes. But these efforts yielded little progress. The abduction had been executed with precision, suggesting professionals rather than opportunistic criminals. The more promising investigative avenue lay in blockchain analysis. While Bitcoin transactions are recorded on a public ledger, tracing funds requires specialized expertise. Ukrainian authorities collaborated with international cybercrime units and private blockchain analysis firms to track the ransom payment. Initial analysis revealed that after receiving the Bitcoin ransom, the perpetrators immediately began a process known as tumbling or mixing, passing the cryptocurrency through multiple wallets and exchanges to obscure its origin. They converted portions to other cryptocurrencies with stronger anonymity features, such as Monero, creating a complex web of transactions designed to lose pursuers. Theories about who was behind the abduction centered on organized crime networks that had begun specializing in cryptocurrency-related offenses. Ukraine, with its strong technical talent pool but relatively weak regulatory oversight, had become a hub for both legitimate cryptocurrency business and criminal exploitation of the technology. Investigators explored connections to other cryptocurrency crimes that had occurred throughout Eastern Europe. In the months before Lerner's abduction, several smaller exchanges had suffered hacks, and other cryptocurrency executives had reported threats. The patterns suggested a criminal network systematically targeting the industry. The Lerner case fundamentally changed security practices within the cryptocurrency industry. Exchanges and blockchain companies implemented enhanced physical security protocols for executives. Many companies began concealing the identities of their technical leadership team. Some operations moved entirely to jurisdictions with stronger security infrastructures. For Pavel Lerner personally, the experience led to a complete withdrawal from public life. He resigned from his position at XMO shortly after his release and disappeared from the cryptocurrency conference circuit where he had once been a regular presenter. His social media accounts went dormant. According to former colleagues, he relocated to an undisclosed location and continues to work in blockchain technology, but exclusively behind the scenes. The perpetrators were never caught, highlighting the perfect storm of challenges this case presented. The borderless nature of cryptocurrency crime, jurisdictional limitations of Ukrainian authorities, and the technical sophistication of the criminals themselves. The Bitcoin ransom, despite being tracked initially, eventually disappeared into the cryptocurrency ecosystem, converted to cash through exchanges with lax compliance standards. Today, the case remains officially open but inactive in Ukrainian police files. The black Mercedes was never found. The Bitcoin ransom continues to move occasionally through the blockchain, laundered through ever more sophisticated means. A digital ghost of a crime that helped define an era in cryptocurrency's evolution. At 4:18 a.m., 45-year-old Terry Missy Bevers arrived at the church. A mother of 3 and a popular fitness instructor, she was there to set up for her early morning Camp Gladiator boot camp class scheduled to begin at 5 a.m. She had taught at this location regularly, a routine that gave her students a unique workout environment while accommodating their busy schedules. What Missy didn't know was that someone was already inside the church, wandering the hallways. The church's security cameras had captured this figure entering through a back door around 3:50 a.m., nearly 30 minutes before Missy's arrival. The security footage, later released to the public, showed something deeply disturbing. The intruder was dressed in what appeared to be tactical police gear. A black helmet with a reflective shield obscuring their face, a heavy black vest with police written across it, black pants, and black tactical boots. They moved through the church halls with purpose, carrying some type of tool or weapon, methodically opening doors and checking rooms. Most distinctive about this figure was their unusual walking pattern, a peculiar swaying gait that gave the impression of either a foot issue or perhaps an individual attempting to disguise their natural movement. The footage, grainy and captured from hallway-mounted cameras, never clearly revealed the intruder's face. At 4:18 a.m., Missy entered the building to begin setting up exercise equipment. The security cameras did not cover the area where she encountered the person in police gear. At approximately 5 a.m., Missy's students began arriving for class. Upon entering the church, they discovered her body in the hallway near the fellowship hall. They immediately called 911, but it was too late. Missy Bevers was pronounced dead at the scene. The medical examiner would later determine that Bevers died from multiple puncture wounds to her head and chest, consistent with an attack using some type of hammer or similar tool. These wounds indicated a personal close-contact assault rather than a shooting or attack from distance. Midlothian Police Department, unused to homicide investigations in their small community, quickly called in assistance from larger agencies, including the Texas Rangers. Investigators were initially puzzled by the crime scene. There were no signs of sexual assault, and Missy's personal belongings, including her wedding ring and purse, remained untouched. The security footage became central to the investigation. Detectives meticulously analyzed the killer's movements through the church. The timeline showed the perpetrator entering at 3:50 a.m., wandering through the building, breaking glass, and forcing internal doors, before Missy's arrival at 4:18 a.m. Investigators estimated that the attack occurred between 4:18 and 4:30 a.m. What made this case particularly unusual was having extensive video of the killer before the murder, yet still being unable to identify them. The tactical gear completely obscured the perpetrator's face and body shape. Even their height was difficult to determine from the footage, with estimates ranging from 5 feet 2 inches to 5 feet 8 inches. The distinctive walk became a focal point, a peculiar swaying motion that some analysts suggested indicated a woman rather than a man, though this remains speculation. In the days following the murder, additional evidence emerged. A surveillance camera from a nearby gun store captured footage of a suspicious vehicle, a light-colored 2010 to 2012 Nissan Altima or similar sedan, parked in the area between 2 a.m. and 3 a.m., well before Missy's arrival. The vehicle left shortly before the time the killer would have entered the church. Despite public appeals, The owner of this vehicle was never identified. Forensic analysts conducted detailed examinations of the killer's physical characteristics from the video footage. The person appeared to have a stocky build, though the tactical vest likely added bulk to their appearance. The unusual gait suggested either a medical condition affecting their walk or potentially someone attempting to disguise their normal walking pattern. Investigators uncovered that Missy had received concerning messages on social media in the weeks before her murder. Some of these related to her fitness business, while others appeared to be from individuals uncomfortable with her outgoing personality and fitness posts. None, however, contained explicit threats that would have flagged immediate danger. The church itself presented another puzzle. A window had been broken, suggesting a break-in, but investigators found aspects of this damage inconsistent with a typical forced entry. Some evidence suggested the damage might have been staged to make the crime appear as a burglary gone wrong. The killer's methodical room-to-room search pattern on the security footage didn't align with typical burglar behavior. As the investigation continued, public theories about the killer's identity multiplied. The distinctive walk led many amateur sleuths to suggest the perpetrator was a woman, possibly someone known to Missy. Others believed the tactical gear indicated a male with military or law enforcement training. The internet became flooded with side-by-side video comparisons of the killer's walk with various suspects. Family dynamics were thoroughly investigated. Missy's husband, Brandon Bevers, was questioned extensively but had a solid alibi. He was on a fishing trip in Mississippi, nearly 700 miles away, at the time of the murder. Cell phone records and witnesses confirmed his whereabouts. Other family members and associates were also investigated and cleared. Community's sense of safety was shattered. Despite having what would seem to be the holy grail of evidence, video footage of the killer before the crime, the case remains unsolved. Several factors contribute to this frustrating reality. The tactical gear completely concealed the perpetrator's identifying features. The unusual walking pattern, while distinctive, hasn't been successfully matched to any suspect. The weapon used in the attack was never recovered. And perhaps most critically, no clear motive has ever been established. Was this a targeted attack by someone who knew Missy's schedule, or a random encounter with an intruder? Was the police gear meant to be intimidating, or was it an attempt to disguise the killer's true identity? Why would someone stage a break-in yet make no attempt to steal anything of value? If you found these stories as compelling and disturbing as I did, please take a moment to subscribe to Murder and Mystery HQ and join our community of mystery seekers. Hit that notification bell to ensure you never miss a case. Let me know in the comments which of these mysteries haunts you the most, or if you have theories about what might have happened. Until next time, remember, not all mysteries get solved, not all questions have answers, and sometimes the rain keeps falling, washing away evidence but never the truth. Stay safe and stay curious.